struck over 7,000 targets across Iran and its military infrastructure. That is not incremental. That is overwhelming force applied with precision. And again, today will be the largest strike package yet, just like yesterday was. As I've said from day one, our capabilities continue to build, Iran's continue to degrade. We're hunting and striking death and destruction from above.
To date, we have struck over 7,000 targets across Iran and its military infrastructure. This is not a slow burn. It is not incremental. What the world is witnessing is overwhelming force applied with absolute precision. Today's operation will be the largest strike package yet, just like yesterday was before it. From day one, the mission has been clear. American capabilities will continue to build, while Iran's continue to degrade. We are hunting and striking death and destruction from above. The center of this storm is an American military base in the United Arab Emirates. Here, the work on the AH-64 Apache attack helicopters never stops. The air is thick with the smell of jet fuel and the heat of turbine engines. Ground crews move in a relentless rhythm, refueling aircraft and reloading weapon systems around the clock. This base is the primary launch point for the pilots flying into the heart of the Strait of Hormuz. Their objective? The total destruction of Iranian Shahed drones. These unmanned systems have been the primary tool for attacks on U.S. bases, Allied positions, and the vital oil tankers transiting the waterway. The defense of the strait depends on the endurance of these crews and the lethality of their machines. Once resupply is complete, the Apaches lift off into the hazy horizon. Their paths diverge. Some fly directly to naval vessels stationed in the Gulf, landing on pitching flight decks to wait on high alert standby. Others bank toward the coast, heading directly into the strait to begin their patrol. The rotation is constant. It is a perpetual motion machine of war. Helicopters going out, helicopters coming back, helicopters hovering on the edge of the fleet, waiting for the signal to engage. When Iranian drones appear on radar, the information reaches the ship first. Deep inside the vessel, in the blue-lit silence of the Combat Information Center, the radar operators detect the contacts. These are small, slow-moving signatures on the screen, but their intent is lethal. The operators classify them as hostile and immediately relay the digitized data to the Apache crews on standby. Whether they are sitting on a carrier deck with rotors idling or already airborne in the patrol zone, the response is instantaneous. The order goes out. Pilots who are on the deck start their engines, the high-pitched whine of the turbines quickly turning into a rhythmic thrum. They lift off within minutes. Those already in the air bank hard, their nose sensors swiveling toward the threat. The Apaches close the distance. Through their thermal optics, the Shahed drones appear as white-hot shapes against the cool sky. The engagement is surgical. The Apaches close on the drones and fire. In the air, there is no room for error. They shoot them down one by one before the drones can ever reach their targets. Explosions bloom over the water as the unmanned threats are neutralized. After completing the mission, the cycle of maintenance begins again. Some helicopters return to the ships to reload and refuel for the next alert, while others fly the long leg back to the land base in the UAE for a full turnaround. On the ground, the pace is just as intense. The maintenance crews perform a complete rearm of the platform. The 19-round Hydra 70 rocket pods are reloaded first. These are unguided rockets, and each Apache carries up to 4 pods, a total of 76 rockets per helicopter. The ground crews slide the heavy pods onto the stub-wing pylons and lock them in. Every single rocket is checked for integrity before the pod is sealed. Next, the 30mm chain gun ammunition drum under the nose is refilled. A fresh belt of high-explosive rounds is fed into the aircraft, the same ammunition used to shred drones at close range. Finally, the AGM-114 Hellfire missiles are mounted onto the rail launchers. These are laser-guided, anti-tank missiles capable of destroying heavily armored vehicles, bunkers, and larger maritime targets. Each missile is slid onto the rail, the electrical connectors are plugged in, and the mounting is secured. The helicopter is fully loaded and ready to fly once more. At a desert airstrip nearby, the deep, rhythmic thrum of jet engines signals the arrival of the heavy lifters. An American C-17 Globemaster III lands and taxis toward the unloading area, its massive tires kicking up dust from the tarmac. On board is another AH-64 Apache, delivered as a critical replacement to ensure that the patrol coverage over the Strait of Hormuz is never interrupted. Transporting a gunship of this size inside a cargo aircraft requires surgical disassembly. The unloading process begins the moment the rear ramp hits the ground. Soldiers and ground crews move with practice coordination, first pulling out the heavy crates and containers holding the components removed for transport. There are crates for the rotor blades, the tail rotor assembly, stub wings, weapons pylons, and the delicate avionics fairings. Boxes of Hydra rockets and Hellfire missiles are rolled off the ramp by hand and cart. Then the helicopter itself is pulled from the shadows of the cargo bay. It sits low, stripped of its rotor blades, its landing gear unlocked for movement. It takes a large, disciplined crew to maneuver the heavy airframe off the aircraft and onto the sun-baked tarmac. Every step is measured and careful. They work to avoid even a single scratch on the advanced sensors, weapon systems, or the integrity of the airframe itself. Once the Apache is clear of the C-17, it is hooked up to a military tow vehicle. The convoy of parts and ammunition follows closely behind on a flatbed as they drive across the airstrip to the assembly area. This is where the mechanics take over. The reconstruction is a masterclass in military engineering. Rotor blades are hoisted, attached, and secured. The tail rotor is mounted, and the drive shaft is meticulously connected. Stub wings are bolted into place, and the weapons pylons are installed. Avionics panels are reconnected and put through a battery of digital tests. The weapons crews follow immediately. Rockets are slotted into the pods, Hellfires are slid onto the rails, and the 30mm chain gun ammunition drum is filled to its maximum capacity. The mechanics run through the final, high-stakes checklist: hydraulics, electrical systems, flight controls, engine performance, and weapons integration. Once every system checks out green, the Apache is cleared for flight. The cycle of reinforcement is complete, but out over the water, the war is still very much alive. Out in the darkness of the strait, the relative calm is shattered as the combat alarm sounds across the steel decks of the naval fleet. Radar has picked up a fresh wave of Iranian drones, a jagged swarm of heat signatures heading directly toward the formation. On the flight deck, an Apache that has been sitting on alert begins to wake. The twin engines scream to life, the exhaust heat blurring the air as the massive rotors reach their full operating speed. The helicopter lifts off, its nose dipping forward as it climbs aggressively into the sky. The pilot banks hard, turning the gunship toward the incoming threat. This is a move to intercept. Inside the cockpit, the world is filtered through green thermal optics and high-definition sensors. The pilot acquires the targets, the crosshairs of the 30mm chain gun slaving to the movement of his helmet. He lines up the shot and pulls the trigger. The rhythmic, heavy thumping of the chain gun echoes over the water. One after another, the drones are hit and spiral into the sea in bright plumes of orange fire. The pilot monitors the wreckage, confirming the kills before reporting the successful engagement back to the ship. In the command center, the data is logged and relayed instantly to the regional headquarters. Target destroyed. Mission confirmed. The Apache does not head home yet. It banks into a wide, graceful circle, returning to its patrol station to hover and watch. It waits for the next alert, the next radar contact, the next shadow in the sky. Behind it, the machinery of American logistics continues to churn. The refuels, the reloads, the constant arrivals of fresh airframes. The cycle continues. Overwhelming force applied with precision, building American capabilities while the opposition's infrastructure is systematically dismantled. This is the new reality of the Strait of Hormuz. This is the vanguard of the air.